Welcome back to our series on building standalone apps with Macs. Today is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to work on making custom icons for our apps, both on the Mac and on Windows. So let's quickly go back and review what we've done so far. We've made this patcher, and this patcher is the basis of our standalone app. To build our standalone app, we can go over to the project window, and under the Manage Project section, we can say Build Collective or Application. When we do that, we'll come up with a dialog, and we'll go ahead and say the file format should be an application. And then we'll click Save. It'll take it a couple of minutes here, and after those couple of minutes, the standalone app will be built to our desktop. Okay, and now the standalone app has finished building. And since it's finished building, I can go ahead and quit Macs. Okay, so now back on the desktop, we have our Party Patcher app that we just created. And then we have a script that we created in an earlier installment of this series that will do a little bit of post-processing to this app. That post-processing will include adding some dependencies that we have. For example, to copy resources for Macs for Live devices that we're using inside. It will also optimize this app by stripping out resources that we don't need. I'm going to launch a terminal right now to go ahead and run this script on the patcher. To do that, I'll pull up the terminal application, run Ruby, pass the script in as the argument, hit enter. It'll run that script, and now we can test out our Party Patcher app. Okay, looks good. You can change the effect. That tells us that everything's working well. I'll go ahead and quit the Party Patcher app. Where we are now is we have a great app, but we still have the old Mac 7 icon. And so if we want to change that icon to make our app personalized for the Party Patcher, what do we do? The steps are similar on the Mac and on Windows, but we'll start on the Mac since we're there. Let's get started. We'll use Apple's Keynote program to make our icon. You could use any graphics program that you like, most of which will probably be better suited than what we're using here. But this is free. It comes installed with the operating system, and it should at least get us something for an icon. Okay, so what we'll do for our icon in this app is we'll just say, use the name Party. Maybe we'll stick some sort of visual element underneath it. Take a rectangle like that. Okay. Now we can go ahead and make a screenshot of this. We'll do Command Control Shift 4. And we'll want to make sure that we take a pretty big piece here. Near the cursor there, that tells you how big this is going to be. We want this to be 512 by 512 in size as a minimum. So we'll try and do that here. And we can kind of see that's not going to be super great. This line is in the way that we probably don't want there, or maybe we do want there. This isn't really centered. We said we did want the line there. Might want to make it evenly spaced. So we do that, and then we'll go ahead and give it another try. Command Control Shift 4. And drag this big old square over here. We'll need to tweak this in a moment, but we'll get this size to 512 by 512 for now. Okay. Now we can go to Apple's preview application, which is installed by the OS. Say new from clipboard. Get rid of Keynote now. And we can make some changes here to really make this look good, but for now we're just going to go with this. So I'll go ahead and say File, Save. I'm going to save this on the desktop. We'll call it Party Icon. And then I'm going to break into our application bundle as we've done in previous episodes. Show package contents. In the contents, we have this resources folder. And in the C74 folder is where we've done things to deal with our dependencies in the past. In this particular case, we want to worry about icons, which are these files that have the .icns extension. Most of these are for different kinds of files that Macs can read, or now that your standalone can read. The one called max.icns is the one that's going to be the party patcher icon for the application. So we open up this file, the icons file in preview, and we can see that there are actually a number of different images in here at different resolutions. And so the OS will be able to present a different icon depending on what size icon it needs to show or display. There are some automated tools that Apple provides for making its icons, and they can help make the workflow simpler, but those tools seem to change continually. And so depending on what version of the OS you're on, they're going to be different. So what I'll do here is we'll just do a brute force method where we'll go through and manually update each of these different images. So I'll come here. I can zoom out so that I can see the whole thing on the screen. I can flip over to our other window. And I've selected everything here. And then I'll copy that, come here, select everything, delete that, and paste our new icon. And I'll go through and do this for each of these. I can say, select all, delete that, paste our new icon. Now, one thing that's going to happen when we get to these smaller icons, select all, delete, and then paste the icon, you'll see that it doesn't all fit. So I can either have the icon look different because it's a different size like that, or I could try to resize the icon. Oops. Come here, you have to have the mouse in the right spot. When you say select all, delete that and paste again. You can see that it's, see how these different icons are comparing. So one thing we could do then when we get to these smaller icons is we can come here and change the size of this if we wish. We could say tools, adjust size, and then we could zoom the whole thing down, for example. Say select all and copy. We come over here and select this, select and say select all, delete, and paste. You can see we're back to having this truncated version here. So now you can see this doesn't really fit very well. Maybe on these small ones, all we really want to see is the P anyway, so we can adjust that. Drag this around. like so. Finally, for the really tiny icon. There we go. Now I'll say save. And when I close this preview window and close this, just quit preview altogether, we've updated the icons file inside of this app. It's not showing up as being updated in the OS. And to get the OS to properly update this, like if we rename the patch, or the application bundle, that's one way to get the icon to update on it. And if we reboot the computer, it'll be updated. If you distribute this, it'll be updated. If we launch it, it may or may not be updated immediately. So that's the basic process on the Mac. And the process isn't too different on Windows. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here we are on Windows. And on Windows, we will need to, once again, build our application. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll start Mac 7. And I will delete the old app here because we always want to start fresh. Okay, so I'll go to the file. I'll open my recent project, which is the Party Patcher. And it pops up here. Go ahead and build this app the same way we did on the Mac. We come to the project window and we'll say build collective or application. We'll put it on the desktop. It's called Party Patcher. The save type we need to make sure we set to application. And we'll click save. And after a moment, it will be done. Go ahead and close all the windows of Macs. And we can see here we have our Party Patcher application that we just built. If we open it up, we can see we have an application and we have the collective, and then we have all of the resources that are used for our dependencies. And so in this application then, we'll just double click it, make sure that it works before we go any further. And sure enough, it does. So that's good. We just need to change the icon. So what we'll do on Windows then, in terms of the file format, we still have our same party icon that we made on the Mac. We could make this with any of the graphics tools on Windows. And we're going to take this and then we'll convert it into a .ico format, which is the icon format that's used on Windows. And we'll do that. We'll just go ahead and open a web browser. Then we'll open a web browser to the website icoconvert.com, which is a handy little website for converting files into icon files. So we'll take this party icon file here and upload that. Then we can crop it or change things about it if we want. We can do some additional stuff if we want. We're just going to choose the default here, which is an ICO for various versions of Windows. And then we're going to say convert, and then we can download the file. And then what do we want to do? We'll save it. We can open the folder that it's in right here. We'll drag it over here. Just like that, we have the icon file that we want to use on Windows. And this will have all the different sizes of icons, similar to the format used by the Mac. What's different is the program that we'll use. And the program that we'll use, there are a lot of different things online that you could download or try. The one I'm going to use is Visual Studio 2017. This has the benefit of being supplied by Microsoft, and I don't have to worry about the security of the program or getting a virus or anything like that. But it has the downside of being a bit more potentially intimidating. All I'll do here, I've opened it up, is I'll go to the File menu and I'll say Open, and then I'll say Open File. And once I've opened this file, we'll go to the desktop, find the Party Patcher folder, which is what we made for our app, and then I'm going to open not the collective, but the application that we made, the Party Patcher application. When I open this up, it will show us the resources, which are analogous to some of those resources we saw inside the Mac application bundle. So we could do things like edit version information, or in our case right now, what we want to do is we want to look at the icons. So you can see we have this bunch of icons in here right now. And if I double click on any of them, I can see the icon. Here it is. It's the 7 from Mac 7, and you can see that here are the different resolutions of that icon that are in here. And if I were to go to a different one of these, you'll see this is a document icon for Mac 7 documents. All we're worried about right now is the main icon for the application, which is going to be icon number 1. So what I can do here is I can right click this and say add resource. When I do that, it'll open up a dialog. It'll ask me what kind of resource. I'm going to just say import, go to the desktop and find not party icon. This is the ping file. I need to change the format down here to find .ico files. And then I'll choose this, which is what we exported from that website. Say open. And you can see it has all the different sizes that we want. So that's super. I can go ahead and close this now, and you can see here it added a new icon with the ID 101. But we need the one with ID 1 to be our new icon, not this old icon. So what we'll do is right click it and delete that icon, and then we'll change this icon right here. The way we change it, we right click again and say properties, and then when we come over to this lower right hand pane, we can see the ID is 101. We're going to change that ID to 1. Okay, so we did that, and then we're going to need to do basically the same thing one more time, which is this number 2 is basically the same icon, and we want this icon also to be replaced with our custom icon. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and delete number 2. We'll come to number 1, and I can say copy, and then in this folder I can say paste. It added it as 19, but as we just saw, I can change the properties of it to change this ID to 2. So we changed 1 and 2, which are the main application icons. If we look at these others, you can see they're like document icons and things that we're not interested in right now. So I'll go ahead and say save partypatcher.exe, and we can quit Visual Studio. Now, when we come into the Party Patcher, what do we see? Well, it's the same problem that we saw with the Mac, which is that this icon isn't updated. If I were to change the name of this slightly, you would see an updated icon, but then the name of the app is wrong. We switch it back and it goes back, but if we reboot Windows, this icon will be updated to be the correct icon. If I start the Party Patcher application, we will see, at least briefly, yeah, we're seeing the correct icon show up over here in the taskbar and be associated in these different windows. So that's a success. We have custom icons for our application on both a Mac and on Windows, and we can distribute it out to the world. I hope that this has been fun, and until next time, happy patching.